Every week, I make a single downloadable MP3 with all the week's material on it, including the readings.
Yeah, I was reading aloud.
Oh, come on.
And from the moment I started this, I had the sense that I'd been doing it my whole life. I've always loved mixtapes, the joy of creation, the power of sound, the feeling of connection. I realized that these weekly MP3s were basically mixtapes for the mind. And while I love trying to make my content as mind-blowing as possible, what really excites me is how it makes my class more accessible and available to all students.
Nothing is more important than a good education.
Except the basic right to it.
And set them free from the screen.
He's trying to tell you that there's something wrong with this school.
And invite them into a lifetime of anytime, anywhere learning. Of all the things I do, this is the thing that students appreciate the most. And I want to share with you my process.
This is a song for the 90s.
Because I think the right mix can blow your students away and transform your class.
I like the idea that a voice can just go somewhere. Just kind of hang out. That was deep.
Step 1, deep work. Your students will be experiencing the deep joy of distraction-free deep learning, and you should too. Identify the theme for the week, and then just immerse yourself in your favorite material. Curl up with a book, or go for a run with your favorite podcast. When I make the time to do this, it feels like this.
In the day-to-day trenches of adult life, there is actually no such thing as atheism. There is no such thing as not worshiping. Everybody worships. The only choice we get is what to worship.
This will be some of the most joyful, deep work you have ever encountered as a professor. It's like sitting on the floor of your bedroom as a teenager, listening to your favorite music, reading over your favorite books and quotes, and crafting just the right mix to capture it all.
I like that.
It will never feel finished.
Talk hard.
So set your time limit. In any given week, I usually have about 6 to 10 hours for this. Set aside 1 hour for editing and any time you might need to record any readings for them. The rest is joyful, deep work time. Next, figure out how long you want your mixtape to be. A 3-credit class should take a total of about 9 hours per week of work. I want mine to be about 3 hours long, leaving 3 hours for reflection and discussion and another 3 hours for application in a weekly challenge. To build the mix, look for engaging material that addresses really big ideas and asks big questions. You can look for YouTube clips, lecture snippets, debate clips, TED Talks, whatever you can find. Then show how they matter in real life by finding great podcast clips or a great story. Make it real and personal by including student interviews and your own deep reflections. I also like to leave about 1 hour for one reading that really captures the big picture. And now, welcome them to the great conversation. Invite them to engage with conundrums, controversies, and controversial figures.
If you're too involved in defending your beliefs, you're going to be willing to kill other people in their defense. Don't stand up for your beliefs. You leave yourself bereft. You're open to the depredations of the infinite. That's equally intolerable. It seems to leave no way out.
And put them into vigorous debate with others.
I'm still not sure what you believe on that point.
Well, I don't know why you would expect to be sure about what someone believes. How do you think that any one of you are capable of fully articulating what you believe?
Break down their preconceptions and biases.
Belief, which we make such a fuss about today, is only a very recent religious enthusiasm.
Show them that your discipline is not just a bunch of bold-faced words to be memorized, but a living conversation, a drama of intelligent, passionate minds, enchanting ideas, and high stakes.
Look, let's go all cognitive neuroscience on this, shall we? 99% of your processing is unconscious. You're not capable of articulating yourselves. If you were, you'd be omniscient.
Okay,
don't give me any nonsense about that.
And let no idea go unchallenged.
I've never heard so many people applaud an evasion of a simple question.
Assign the best of a piece rather than the whole piece to make room for others. And find ones that talk to one another.
There is a way out, and I think it's the way out that genuinely religious people have tried to offer humanity for thousands and thousands of years. And
It's been codified as myths, Proverbs.
And in particular, every single one of the major world traditions has put at the core of their tradition what's become known as the Golden Rule.
For any written materials, you will have to read them.
Hey, would you mind just doing a little bit for me? The thing on the book on tape?
This can actually be a fun process. All right, class, here we go. God is Not One by Stephen Prothero. It will not only improve accessibility to your materials, it is also a great opportunity to model engaged critical reading and a chance to share your own excitement for the ideas. Wow, so listen to this. He says, for more than a generation, we have followed scholars and sages down the rabbit hole into a fantasy world in which all gods are one. He has Armstrong in mind here. When you're satisfied that you have the big ideas covered, bring them to life with real-life stories.
I want to start the show today with a truly remarkable story. Do we live in a world where there's magic and meaning, or is it all just...
If I were the kind of person who could believe, now would be a good time to believe. But I'm not that kind of person.
You can also bring students into the mix. Here I interview a former student, Nathaniel Bozarth, who entered the class by professing his firm belief.
Yes, Dr. Wesh. Yes, classmates, I believe.
Here's 60 seconds of that interview. The story turns on day one when another student challenges him on his beliefs.
She said, I just think you were trying to belong.
That statement made you question your faith. Like, is it the whole thing that's on the line?
Right. Yeah, it's the existence of any God that's on the line. I have roommates who are all very Christian. Well, I remember one night I came home and he asked me how my day was. Something gets me yelling. I yell at him. Like I'm just like, I'm questioning everything that I've ever believed. My girlfriend broke up with me. This semester's tough. And they just weep with me. They just wept with me. For me, it just was a holy moment. Like, God was there. I mean, we could have been of any religious faiths. We could have neither of us been faith, and I don't think that would affect that God was there. That was a God moment.
Most importantly, find your own voice and connect authentically with your students.
Are you listening to this? Yeah, of course I'm listening.
Read student comments and respond to them.
Dear Harry, I think you're boring and obnoxious and have a high opinion of yourself.
And create a community of passionate learners.
Hallelujah!
I have dyslexia, so reading books is really hard for me, but if you hear it and see it, there's a connection.
Even if just being able to open the module and look and see that it was a 57-minute audio recording, I would know that I need to devote at least that much time.
I'm also an athlete at K-State, so I'm very, very busy, and I have a job, and I could turn on his recording when I'm driving to practice or when I'm doing laundry.
I think I folded laundry a lot of the time while I was listening to the...
Seriously, it's...
Big thanks to AQ for sponsoring this video. AQ provides outstanding micro-credential courses in effective teaching practices. And this video is just one small part of their new course on effective online teaching practices, which will launch this June.